You can shoot, either of us can answer the questions. I mean, if you want to set a context, maybe I can just go. The idea of discussing this here was that there's a lot of momentum, as I said, PRCI as an organization, as an association, Public Relations Consultants Association of India. And we do understand where the opportunities is for the association, where the industry is. The industry has taken a lot of, has seen a lot of movement as well, and really being the center of communication, especially post COVID. A lot of more people have recognized where this is, and we are growing as an industry, and there is one thing that we have to keep working on, is how to make sure that we feed the industry with the right talent as well. So that's where the AIPR story is, on how we are upskilling and bringing that talent up. But happy to talk about, because with this momentum, this team here, and 20 years of PRCI, we are in the 21st year, and that's where the brand identity is also morphing into, where we feel communication is at the center of it. So you can shoot questions to Atul or me, either ways, and if we can kind of complement the answers where needed. Yeah.
Sure. So my questions are open to you both. Any one of you can answer, or if both of you want to answer, both of you can. So yeah, my first question for you guys will be, what was the idea behind setting up this accreditation program in Indian public relation for the public relations professionals, and what do you hope to achieve from this program?
Atul, you want to go first?
No, it's okay, Deepti, please go ahead. I'll jump in.
Sure. So I even before I came on board, this was a very strong idea that Atul and the team have been championing, to do something for the PR industry that provides a common lens of measurement, right? We do know that there are very low entry barriers to PR as a profession. People come in from different places, like some other professions as well, unlike medicine and engineering, where you start from there, you sometimes go around and then come to this profession. The second thing that's happening with our profession is it's becoming very broad-based and inclusive, right? It's communication, it's digital, it's those kind of things. So all that means that you need to really be very evolved with the talent. You need to upskill constantly. You need to be relevant. And I think that is where AIPR, which is a first of its kind program, we call it accreditation in Indian public relations, was set up from that perspective, so that we can see PR professionals from a common lens, right? And for the PR professional, it's a good opportunity, whether you are 2 years into the profession, 10 years, 15 years, to stop and see that where is your competency gap. We are today in a race to achieve things, right? The day-to-day is a very, very, how do I say, stereotype thing that everybody is working through. But this kind of a program, it gives an opportunity even for the practitioner to take this aptitude test, realize where the gaps are, right? And then the second piece of this is the, presenting to the jury round. So they are testing themselves, and this is a big opportunity to improve. As an association, what it does is we feel that this kind of a growth and upskilling should happen at scale. And that's what an association can really do. So we launched this program for level 1, which was 0 to 5 years, and then 6 to 10 years for the level 2 in our first batch, and saw about 70 people taking part. Half of them qualified into the after the written aptitude test, and then they came forward in front of a very, very powerful jury to share their thoughts and idea, and that's where they were accredited. 18 of them made it, and we are so very proud of it. Atul?
Yeah, no, I think so Deepti's covered majority of it, Yamini. I think the only thing which the idea of accreditation came in from the fact that we are a consulting based profession, and if you look at professions around us, whether it is legal, whether it is accounting, whether it is medicine for that matter, which is technical, there is a way that every industry makes sure that its professionals are kept abreast of developments in the industry. So every time you're meeting a professional from that industry, you can ensure and you can make sure that those professionals are up to date in their skills, in their competence, in their knowledge, and in the way they hold themselves to the profession. And I think somewhere down the line we felt that as public relations we were not doing that. We felt that this bringing in a degree of accreditation, certification, whatever you want to call it, will bring that rigor, will bring that will bring that hard work back to the industry, which essentially means that every level at which you see people will be really, really competent. And these are the people who will actually be able to show the rest of the industry the way how, public relations profession should evolve. So that was the thought behind the AIPR initiative.
Okay. So I'll move forward with the second question. That is, press accreditation brings additional benefits and access for media personals. What can PR professionals who are selected expect to gain from AIPR?
So I'll jump in there. So I think there are two things. One is purely from a career advancement perspective. So anybody who has the accreditation, definitely the way they are grown in their organizations, the way they, grow in their organization, beyond their organization, even if they go to any communication allied profession, the way they go ahead, I think that's one thing which we definitely feel is going to help them in the long run. I think another thing is professional excellence. So essentially, in the way they uphold the profession. So I think we need more and more professionals who can go out there and make sure that they're keeping the flag high for the public relations industry. So I think as consultants, as public relations professionals, when they are engaging with clients, when they're engaging with the our peers across the industry, we want to make sure that the industry is seen in a certain light. So I think right from holding the flag of the industry high to their own career advancement in India. And I think one of the things which we are trying to ensure through ECO is that this accreditation will also be valid and accepted across the globe. So I think that also helps a lot, because as people go beyond India to work, usually there's always this whole conversation, the relevance of experience, Indian experience is very different from what you do in the US. So I think this will also help us somewhere, make sure that we are able to put them on the same page.
Okay. Deepti, you want to add something on that?
No, I think from because these things happen internationally, there are other associations who run programs like this, right? So I think it allows to be that benchmark. Secondly, I think it's truly aspirational to get this, right? Because those who have taken the test, they really pass the test of those colors to make it happen, right? As I said, only 50% qualified. So the cutoffs, will continue to grow high as the level of the program continues to go. So there is a lot of pride into this that, one will take back to say, I am among the best. And I think that's very important in any industry, just not ours, because ours is a skill where, you have to really work with consultants, with varied bodies, and your clients from that perspective. Even an agency who has more accredited people, that speaks volumes of the talent that the agency also is recruiting, right? So I think it works for the individual, it works for the industry, it works for the clients who these practitioners are serving. So I think it works for everybody. It's a win-win opportunity, and a big pride point. So it is aspirational, and we want more people to look at it from that perspective as well, because it wasn't easy to crack. So I would say it was somewhere like the Fiji of IIT in the sense, because it was the aptitude test, for instance, had analytical questions, vocabulary questions, problem solving questions. So it's very well rounded and grounded from that perspective, taking some international benchmarks in development of those things, new age skills and those. So you're tested on that. And then the second part is about really presenting your thought very clearly. So, in front of a in front of seasoned practitioners. So you're talking to the best to aspire to be the best. So there's a lot in there.
On you said like it's FitG, it's kind of FitG, and the cutoff marks are growing and everything. So what are the criteria for qualifying this accreditation program in Indian public relations?
So the candidates have to go through an aptitude 90-minute test, which is done online. And then after as I said, these were the areas where problem solving to other analysis, then we can give you some more information around that was done. And then they present this to, the jury was very diverse as well, right? So it had the CEOs of top agencies, it had an HR practitioner, it had an academician, right? Because we were also trying to bridge that gap from a perspective of those who have taught them, may see them in the room and feel proud about, yes, that they've come out from my institute, right? So presenting to that diverse, which was a case study, which was given to them. And that's where they had to, bring an idea forward and their thoughts about how they develop a campaign. So all this were the testing grounds, after which there was, a patternized of, all the data collected on their scores. And that is how we chose the 18 out of that.
Okay. So how will AIPR motivate and assist PR professionals in upskilling as well as growing the talent pool in the Indian PR industry?
I wouldn't say there's a direct answer to this, but I'm hoping that with these 18 professionals who've been now accredited as AIPR professionals, we feel that once people, go out there, they will be able to create that, aura around the fact that these are people who are actually the flag bearers or the torch bearers for the industry, and hopefully also motivate, more professionals to come in and, go through the certification. We also feel that all our member firms have been very supportive in this initiative, because I think one of the challenges that as an industry, and I don't think it's specific to PR, but all industries are facing is talent. So how do you ensure that, not only you are able to attract the best of the talent, but you're also able to make sure that you can grow that talent sustainably in the long run. So I think AIPR just helps us do that, because it not only ensures that there is a minimum cutoff, like they say, to the best professional or the best communication advisor out there, but also, I think in a way it'll end up raising the standards of the industry. And I think to the question that you asked earlier, Yamini, there were actually 8 criterias which AIPR laid out. So right from trust to ethics to, I think, communication to counsel to research to leadership to learning to values and purpose. I think these were all 8 parameters on which all these individuals were rated. And while you tend to usually think that it's a communications certification or a PR certification, so it would be about how do you communicate best. But I think if you look at the tests that these students were put through, it included everything, right from what's happening in and around you. So right from general awareness to your language skills to your media awareness to your understanding of digital. I think we want not professionals who just know how to communicate, but we also want professionals who can actually be the advisors to the clients and to the businesses. And that's what I think where we will possibly be able to lift the standards of the industry as well.
So my last question for you. Yes.
I mean, just to add, I think with the batch, there comes a responsibility as well. And as Atul was saying, that the industry needs more talent and more people to adopt PR as a profession, right? Because we definitely need that, how the seat on the table for the profession is growing, the startup ecosystem to the MNCs to, even public sectors, there's a big demand. So I don't think so today the agencies are facing an issue about if there is a lot of business, right? So you do want this profession to be talked in the right spirit and an opportunity, right? I don't think so. Now there is that divide between this is marketing and advertising and PR. So those doors are opening up, and we want more people to be aware of what the real life of a PR professional is, when these skills are actually becoming all part of communication. So we want to take that, and some of these, the torch bearers, as we rightly put in, will help us evangelize that profession and communicate what the life of a PR professional is, right? So that's where we really want to make sure that we get deeper understanding of the skill that you need to be in a profession and how to be the best. So I think that's what these will be the role models or the torchbearers for future, the batches we come. And we've got a very overwhelming response as well. People who've gone through it, the pride point when we held this all together. I think the team's very motivated. The winners are very motivated, and that's where we feel it'll all help to take the standard of the industry even further.
So going forward, this will be the last question related to AIPR. So for you guys, what have been the lessons learned from this India's first accreditation program? And going forward, what are your plans to make the platform more robust and relevant?
Well, I think I would say the opportunity is scale. This was a tip in the iceberg, and that is where what we should be able to leverage. More than the lessons, I say the opportunity. And a good example of that, when we had a very, very seasoned jury with us. After the session, many of them came forward to say, I am open to take this person under my wings, right? So there is a lot of contribution that the people who have achieved, who have known this profession for years are willing to take forward with the younger generation. So I think that's the biggest opportunity of the program. So the opportunity to learn and grow is more with this. And from our perspective, it's all about the scale. From a lesson perspective, our skill is evolving at a very everyday basis, frankly. So when we conduct these tests, the relevance of the questions and the content will need to be top notch and will need to be considered from time to time and build upon. So that's the only lesson that I could see. But in the first phase, I think we've got the right response, but we will, of course, be meeting. And I feel with scale, we opened up with a certain criteria of doing this only with the agency members. I think we got to think what else, where is the other, grassroots opportunities that we can to build and scale the program.
Anything you want to add, Atul sir?
Atul, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry, no, I think it's, what Deepti said covers most of it. I feel, I think the only elaborating on one point which Deepti raised, I think we didn't anticipate the kind of response that we'll get from the industry leaders or veterans in this entire program. So I think I was pleasantly surprised to see that right from corporate communicators to academicians to senior industry colleagues, I think right from not only the accreditation process, but also the fact that they're happy to invest their personal time into mentoring, mentoring people who have possibly cleared the written, but possibly didn't make it through the interview. So right from, I think, putting their personal time and making sure that they're giving back to the industry, I think that was a very, very heartening thing, I would say, to view that people are actually willing to do that for their junior colleagues. And I think that was, it's not an opportunity, neither it's a challenge, but I think it was a very good thing to see that how the industry was coming together to make sure that we go to the next level.
Okay. That's all related to AIPR. And I recently saw on your social media pages, like on Friday, that you have started using a new logo for PRCAI.
I also shared it with Yamini, the old logo and the new logo, to show the transition, plus the video as well of the reveal. So Yamini, we would first like to hear from you. What's your thought on the first look? And then we can, of course, shoot your questions.
I really like the color combo, the blue and orange wala thing. And yeah, it's like nice. It's minimal and still modern. So yeah, I really like the logo.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
Shoot
yeah,
your questions, Yamini.
obviously, this is the first time that PRCAI logo is changing. So, what was the need or the objective behind this? Why the change now? Why wasn't it done before, or what was it?
Well, Atul has been longer, but I can say 20 years was a good opportunity. We had a very good foundation built for where PRCI started. It was started to take the cause of the industry forward, to bring a lot of people. And I think from a foundation perspective, that was done very well. And now, the whole ecosystem of communications is changing. And I thought in that opportunity, we needed to say where PR is becoming broader, right? PR is, so we really brought communication to the center of where we are, where we presented this. The end of the 2 decades was an opportunity of the new beginnings, and that's where the new brand identity. That also goes back to the strategy of where we want to take PRCI. We want to make it more inclusive. We want more people, associations, different organizations being part of it. And from a business perspective, for instance, we've opened our doors even for students, for instance, to come in. We are bringing, institutional membership in. So we are kind of opening and morphing from that perspective while we have a very strong foundation. But how can we bring that inclusiveness? How can we continue to be ethical, prosperous, and professional? And I think all that sowed thought in us to say this was a time for the brand identity to come in and grow. I'll have Atul add more. We have specifics why we chose the colors and where we are, but Atul, over to you.
Yeah, sure. So I think, see, without getting into, the old versus the new, I think PRCI came into existence some 21 years back. And when PRCI was formed, it was formed by a bunch of few public relations firms, which was a mix of some Indian firms and quite a few MNC firms. And I think from that time till now, when PRCI was a handful of some 6 member agencies, which basically constituted PRCI, to now over 50 plus members, and I'm talking about only communication firms, to corporate communicators now being a part of the fold, academia being a part of the fold, institutional members being a part of the fold. I think the expanse of PRCI has widened. We definitely feel that we've become younger in our age profile and demographics, because there's a lot of positive energy which has been brought in by the younger generation, or the millennials as they call them. And we felt that we needed something which they could identify, associate with. We also wanted to make sure that instead of PR, we wanted to put communications in the center of it, like Deeptie said. So hence the focus on, very clearly on, with the focus on C. The colors are a mix of, so if you look at PRCI, original colors were blue. So we wanted to retain some of where we came from, but we also wanted to make sure that, there was a bright, nice orange feel to what we wanted to bring to the table. So I think right from energy to positivity to, I think, innovation, I think there's a lot of things that orange stands for, and we felt that that really blended in with the turquoise blue that you see on the logo. So I think and I think more important, you can talk about a lot of gyan, what went into the colors and the logo, but I think it should look good, right? When you're putting your logo out there on collaterals, when you're looking, and every person who possibly will wear this logo in the future should be really proud to wear these colors. And we felt that somewhere that acceptability for this kind of a logo and these kind of colors would be way higher than the earlier logo. So that's essentially the theory behind the logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, just to add to that, while we talked about the C, but if you see there is a little,
Yeah,
mark around that, it's all about it represents two things. It's the freedom of speech, right? Because it's the quote mark as an extension, which is central to opinions and everything that this industry speaks for, right? We are the thinkers, we are the communicators, and that's what it is about, freedom of expression, where you could, and the forward momentum that you could see with it. So I think that was carefully designed to really bring that ethos forward.
Okay. So who came up with the design? Was it you guys in-house, or you had some agency hired? And if it was an agency, what was the briefing that was given?
So I think briefing we've already shared with you, in the sense broadly like what we wanted them to do. So it had to be young, it had to be peppy, it had to be colorful, it had to be more modern in its outlook. So that was essentially the brief.
So you
And
hired an agency to design the logo.
Yes.
What was that agency?
It's an agency called 4 AM, and if you would want to speak to them, happy to connect you to them as well.
So basically, this was the brief given to them, that you wanted interesting, attractive, peppy, and something that will attract our generation or the younger generation.
Yeah, something which
No, I would say we didn't want to go away from our basic values of what the industry is, that it's ethical, prosperity for all, and professionalism, right? So that core did not change. As Atul was saying, we did not move to a completely different color like a pink or red, because we wanted the lineage of blue to go, but more younger and modern, as he mentioned, from that perspective. So the brief had a couple of layers to it, like the values for which the association has been formed from a PR perspective should not change. Secondly, make it more inclusive. So even when you see the eye, the eye represents, if you see it also like it's a smaller than the full, right? You can also see it as a body or a human, right? So this industry is very human dominated, right? As a consultancy from that perspective. So there were those elements that frankly came forward when we kind of discussed and ideated. So the values stayed. We wanted to be modern and yet peppy, but also be very true to this whole encompassing role that communication is playing to that. So those were the elements of the brief that we shared.
Okay. So by this change of logo, how is PRCI planning to modernize itself, and how it intends to take forward the PR industry?
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word modernize. That is the look and the feel. And yes, you need to be modern and sophisticated from that perspective. We need to do the right things which will help further the industry. And I think that's where we are completely on mark, and we have a very strong roadmap from that perspective. We definitely want to grow, and we want to be inclusive. As we said, we want to be a think tank, right? So with a lot of more research, how communicators can rely on PRCI to bring the best knowledge together, and a very, very big knowledge hub. So when we talk about modernizing from that perspective, I mean, we are talking of new age topics, issues that are reflective of our industry that needs to be debated, deliberated, and discussed. So you will see a lot of our programs that we bring in from that perspective will be reflective of that, right? So we engage more people, wider spectrum of people, to talk about the relevant topic that impacts our industry, our people, and the businesses that that really depend on PR as a skill. So we bring it all together when we do that for PRCAI. And we've grown in fact, in the last just couple of months, we've seen a lot more new associate members come on board, lot more other senior leaders come on board. Our volunteers base is growing tremendously. Our programs, AIPR is one of them. We are doing more programs to upskill the talent. We are running a workshop today called the Writing Pen Upskilling, right? So really working with young professionals and bringing them in touch with media. So media is an important part to this, to PRCI as well. So I wouldn't use the word how we are modernizing, but how we are, as I think, being more inclusive and relevant as we grow this association to attract more people and to serve more people from our profession.
That's it. Thank you so much. It was really a lovely conversation with you guys.
Sure.
you.
And if you want, Yamini, we can put you in touch with 4 a.m. or if you just want a quote from them, we can arrange that quote for you. We can share a couple of things that if you need, for instance, what the colors stand for and those kind of stuff. If you need it, just let us know or let Shelja know and we'll feed. But it was good to talk to you as well.
Same here. If I need anything, I'll just contact Shelja. She'll be there.
Sure. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Thank you so
you.
much.
All right.
Thank you, Atul.
Thank you,
Deepti,
everybody.
for the
Thanks,
time.
Shelja, for
Thanks,
organizing
Yamini.
this. Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Atul.
much.
Bye-bye.
See you soon, Atul sir.
See you, Yamini. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, Yamini. Thanks.